Well, welcome back to another video from the Clark & Addison Gaming Company. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator at Clark & Addison. And in this game, I'm going to play a game between the 2025 Braves and Blue Jays. Before I do that, I'm going to show you how this new game works. So this is a new game that I'm codenaming StraPBA Pro. Stratomatic, APA, and Status Pro sort of all jumbled together. It's a little bit like saying, hey, I made a new version of lasagna, right? So maybe you took a little bit from here and a little bit from there and you combine them together. And technically it's new, but you're going to recognize a little bit of each game in this game, right? So which, you know, maybe that's going to appeal to people more than my original games. So the odds are this will be the runaway winner, right? If I just kind of mix all these things together. But I'm going to show you in this first video how it works. I'm going to be a good boy and make 2 videos instead of just making one big long video. And then in the second video, right after this, I will play out this game. Okay. So let's walk through, and I'll do my best job of just explaining how everything works. So we have, this is going to be a pitcher card, and try to get everything on there. So you can see that there's an 11 to 66 system, just like APA, but the results are right there. You don't have to go to a chart to look them up, a la Strat. And then we have this number up here that we're calling the leverage number, a la Status Pro. It's very similar to the PB number, but it works more like precision baseball than it does the pitcher-batter interaction in Status Pro. So in that way, sort of all 3 games you can see represented here just on the card. This is the batter card. The batter cards are a little bit more refined. There are still some things I need to do on the pitcher cards. They work for now, but you can see we have the players' ratings here at the top, and we have all the positions that will be played. There's a slot for up to 3 positions. We have the pitcher, how they bat, range, errors, and fielding. This is sort of a combination of these 2. And it's position adjusted, so shortstops and second basemen are a little bit different than others. We have a run rating, which we'll use for stealing and taking extra bases, and then there's a catcher rating, which is basically catcher arm, how good a catcher is. So on any catcher plays, we'll use that. Obviously, Ozzy doesn't have that. So every card is separated by right-handed and left-handed. So you can see 11 to 36, 41 to 66. This is the left-hand column in the black, the right-hand column, basically versus right-handed pitching versus left-handed pitching. So you can kind of see that a little bit better. And then down at the bottom, you can see here that the stats are split by right and left-handed and then total. So you can see how the splits are. Let me know in the comments if you want to see pictures with splits as well. So you can see here, I've just given sort of a single line for the pitchers. Let me know if you want to see different stats or if you want to see splits like we have with the batters. So, or do you even need to see those splits with the batters? If not, we can make it super easy and just make the total stats, and they'll be a little bit bigger, like the pitching stats. Okay, so let's say we have Easton Lucas pitching against Ozzy Albies. Sorry, it's 6 a.m. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll 2d6 dice. I'm going to do red and white. So we read red for the batter, white for the pitcher. So I think of it, the way I set it up is right, or red is to the left and white is to the right. So that's how I think about it. So we roll those 2. We take a 3 for the batter. Can't see that very well, but it's a 3. And we have a 4 for the pitcher. All right, so let's get that out of the, there you go. Get it out of the glare. So we get a 3 for Ozzy Albies. We're going to add that to his 2. That gives him a 5. We have a 4 for the pitcher. That gives him an 8. So 8 to 5, and we just do a simple comparison of the two. 8 to 5 means that Easton Lucas, we're going to use his card. So whichever player kind of wins that battle between the two. So obviously a pitcher who has a stronger leverage number than the batter is going to control more of the bats. More are going to come off of his card. You may not want that because he has a 6.66 ERA in 24 innings. That was 5 starts. So maybe you don't want that, but that's how we're going to get statistical accuracy, is by just judging whose card we come off of. Now, Ozzy, he hit 240 overall against a left-hander. He is a switch hitter, so against a left-hander, he's batting right-handed. And against left-handed pitching, he bat 277, so quite a bit better, 708 OPS. So you really want things to come off of Ozzy's card, but if it comes off the pitcher's card in this instance, you know, the likelihood is it's going to be a good result because he's not a great pitcher. So it's not about figuring out, this advantage here is not about figuring out who is the better player. It's about figuring out which card are we going to go off of and whose card should get the most play, so to speak, in this at-bat. And then there's sort of the wild card of the at-bat, which is the randomness of the at-bat. Maybe throws a pitch down the middle and Ozzy gets a chance to crush something. So that really is the pitcher-hitter interaction. And so once we've decided it's coming off of the pitcher card, then I'm going to roll all 3 of these. These are really the only 3 dice that you need, just 2 D6s and, with different colors or different sizes, and then a D20. So technically that's all you need in the game. You can double these up and just roll more than one thing per roll, because you're going to need to do probably at least 2 rolls for most at-bats. So once we have that, we have a 61, and we're going to read them again, red to white. 61. Remember, it's an 11 to 66 roll. So we have a 61 right here. And let's get in there real close. Nice tight shot. So 61 is right here. And then our pitcher is going against a right-handed batter. Remember, Ozzy is a switch hitter, so he's hitting right-handed against a lefty. So we're looking in the red column. 61 to a red is going to be a strikeout. You can see that K there. So we mark the strikeout. We go to the next batter. Now we have lots of different results on here. Let's say it was a 41. That's going to be a ground ball. A 42 would be a fly ball. A 45 is going to be a home run. There could be doubles, singles, and then LD is line drive. Now, once we go on one of those, we have a chart here. And we have 1 page of charts. That's all that the game has at this point. So if it's a ground ball, you're going to go over here, choose what handed batter it is. So if Ozzy hit a ground ball, he's a right-handed batter, so he's going to be looking down this column. Once you get to 16, it's for everybody. That's why it goes all the way across. But you can see here 1 to 3 on our D20. Our D20 is a 19. So for us, it would be grounded foul. And you're going to re-roll the at-bats. So you re-roll everything. If it was a 1 to 3, that'd be hit to the third baseman, and you need to do a range check on the third baseman. 4 to 6, same thing for a shortstop. A 7 is going to be an error check. That's a different chart. 8 to 10. That was terrible. 8 to 10. I don't know why it says 8 to 3. It's a problem over here, too. 8 to 10. Is going to be second baseman range. 11, second baseman error. 12 to 13, first baseman range. We don't have a proper error check on the first baseman, but we do have one for the pitcher, the catcher, and then we have a slow roller, and we need to do an infield check, so we use the range chart for that. A hard grounder goes through, a fielder's choice, batter's out at first, and then this one is an infield single on a 20. So you roll to get the result off the card. You roll your D20. And that's going to give you the result here. If it's a left-handed batter, basically it's mirrored so that instead of third base where you pull it, you're pulling it to first base, right? So it's a little bit different type of thing. So we have different play charts here. We have a range check and we have an error check. Now every player has, and I don't have this for pitchers, so I'll have to put that on the pitcher cards. Like I said, the pitcher cards are not quite as fleshed out. You have a range, error, and fielding section for each player. You can see them on there. Range, error, and fielding. So those are your like 3 fielding, and then you have a catcher arm. So our range goes from 0 to 3. All of these fielding ranges go from 0 to 3. 0 is the best, 3 is the worst. So that gives you a sense. And we go to our range check, and let's say it's hit to Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette has a range of 3, which is this final column over here. Then we would roll our D20. It's an 8. So on a 1 to 11, it's a catch. A hit is on a 12 to 20. So on a range check, it would be a catch. And the play would be made to first, and that's an out. So if that was a range play up here in this chart. If it's an error check, same thing. Everybody's rated 0 to 3, 0 being the best. So you can see an error is only made on a 20. But errors here, 17 to 20. Can't be 21. Has to be 20. So 1 to 18, they make the play. 19 or 20, that's for a 1 rated fielder. A 3 rated fielder will make an error. 17 to 20, which is 4 chances out of 20. It's about a 20% chance, after a 5% chance, after about a 25% chance or so, 30% chance, depending on the type of play. We have a double play here. So if it's a double play situation and the player passes the range or the error check, we roll one more time to see if there's a double play turned. Now in the double play, we need to take the fielder fielding rating, the pivot man fielding rating, the batter running rating, and the D20 result. We add those together, and we see 1 to 14 will be a double play turned. 15 to 20 basically is some sort of fielder's choice. But each player has this fielding rating here. You can see fielding 2 for Ozzy, and then he has a run rating. So you take the fielder who catches the ball, the fielder who is the pivot man at second base, and the runner. You add those together, roll a die, and then you see, does it fit within this 1 to 14? So you can see that double plays are, more than often than not, they're gonna come out as fielder's choice. But if you roll low, you can get those double plays. And if your players are good, right? Remember, low is good. So if your fielding ratings are, your middle infielders are both 1, that's only a 2. And then if your runner is also a 2, that's only 4. So now you only need to roll 1 to 10 and you've got a double play turn. Anything beyond 10, so that's about a 50% chance. Anything beyond 10 is going to be a fielder's choice. So you can see that lower numbers will help. If your runner is faster, that'll push you into more of the fielder's choice kind of area. On fly balls and line drives, you're going to use the chart over here. So you can see this chart here, fly balls and line drives. 1 is going to be a foul out down the line. For a foul out, you're going to roll a D20. 1 to 15 is caught for the out. 16 to 20 is a foul ball, so you need to re-roll. So that matches up similarly with the grounded foul over here. So we have some foul balls. If it's hit to medium, left, center, or right here on this section, that's just simply a ball that's been caught. This will be 10 to 11. That's just a fly ball that's been caught. There's no error range checks. On this one, there's a range check. So from 12 to 16, there's a range check. That's like a shallow line drive or a shallow fly ball that the player has to come in and make a play on. And then again, you would use your range check here. Every fielder has a 0 to 3, 0 being the best. So you do a range check here, and if the player fails that range check, then it falls for a hit. That'll just be a single. And then everybody treats it kind of like with less than 2 outs, you're going to treat it like an infield hit, where, it's a base at a time because they had to wait to see if it was caught. There's a pop fly on the infield. For a pop out, roll 1d6, and then you just match the position to the roll number 1 to 6. And so that's a pop fly on the infield. You get a double in the gap, and that's going to lead to a triples check. The triples check is here. Every player has a 1 to 5 rating for their running, and higher is better. So that's the one rating where higher is better. And then the result is a double or triple depending on a D20 roll. If you have a 5 rated player, he's going to have a 20 every time. I should probably change that to yeah, we'll have to think about how to change that. So 1 to 20 at this point, that's where it is. Here's a deep drive on a 19. That's a home run check. Same thing here. 1 to 5, you're looking at the pitcher's leverage rating. So you see the batter, I should put leverage there, but the leverage rating, 1 to 5, that's the big number here at the top. This one here. So if it was Ozzie Albies hitting the ball, he would be a 2. And on a 1 to 18, he hits a deep fly ball out. On a 19 or 20, he gets like a little extra home run boost there. And then a 20 is an outfield error check. You can see 1 to 2 goes to the left fielder, 3 to 4 to center fielder. You just roll a d6 to figure out which fielder. And then I just added this the other day. So this is going to be the safe hit direction. If you want to know where a base hit has been hit, you can just roll off here. Because the hits and the doubles and singles off of the batter card don't tell you, and the home runs don't tell you. Basic base running. So this is the basic base running on hits. This is your hit type, single, double, triple, error, or home run. And then with a runner on first, this is what happens. So just kind of basic base running like you would think. And then we also have some situational base running, so scoring from second on a single. If you want to do that, you have your runner rating, and then you roll a d20, and if it's in this range, then it's going to be safe. For some reason, it made 10s a 3, so not exactly sure why that happened. But it should be 10 to 20, 7 to 25 to 24 to 20. So the better your runner is, the greater the range where he would be safe. Same thing, first to third on a single. Scores first to home on a double. You have to do that, so that's again going to be 10. 10 to 20 is safe for a player who's a 1 rating, so basically 50-50 chance. A little greater than that as you go down. Tagging from third base, you have your options here. You can see on a deep drive, you add +2 to the D20 roll result. Actually, I'm changing that to, we'll add +2 to the D20 roll result. We'll see. I've flirted with just adjusting the runner rating and then doing that. So, but basically you're kind of doing the same thing here. On a shallow fly ball, which is these range checks, if they catch the ball, then it's a -3 to the D20 roll result. So you would, I guess I would say, we'd need to reverse that. So it's a -2 on a deep drive. So you subtract 2, make that range wider, and a +3 would make the range narrower. So instead of 3 to 20, it'd be 6 to 20 on a shallow fly ball for a 5 rated player. Tagging from second base, same thing. This applies to both of these. So again, there's a 10 there. It needs to be set. So 11 to 20, 10 to 20, 9 to 20, etc. That's tagging from second base and whether you're safe at third. And the final chart here is for stealing bases. So the range here is a safe. So if you roll within that range, you're safe. We're going to take the catcher arm or the catcher rating, which I think Sean Murphy is hitting kind of high up. He is. So you can see that his catcher rating is a 1. It's right there at the end. And 0 is the best. 3 is the worst. Sean Murphy is known for having a really good arm. Both catchers in this game do. Tyler Heineman has a good arm as well. And we're going to take the catcher rating across the top and the runner speed here. So the better the runner speed and the worse the arm, the better the range here. So you can see the range is tighter for the 0 against the 0, and it's larger, 15% better for a 5-rated player going against a guy with the worst arm, a 3. And, you know, it's a mix and a range of catchers throughout the league. I don't have any outfielder arms yet, but I'll probably make that last slot there arm. And so you'll have like catchers and you'll have catchers and outfielders. So there's not a lot going on here. You're going to use these two charts all the time. You're going to use these charts all the time. You're occasionally going to use some of these base running charts whenever there's base running advantages, and got a little extra here too. So with 2 outs, we're going to add +2 to the run value. So instead of 3, it got to be a 5. Instead of 1, it'd be a 3. If it's hit to left center or right center field, then you're going to add +1. And these compound. So if there's 2 outs and it's hit to left center field, then you add +3. That's almost a guaranteed score because you're having players have to run to get to the ball. And then trail runners, if their run value is 3 or greater, they auto advance on any plays to home or third base. So if you decide to go home and they decide to throw home and make a play, then the trail runners, as long as they're a 3+, they're going to auto advance to the next base. So I didn't want to put too much into that. In precision baseball, you kind of have a little bit of that as well. And I think it makes for a little bit more realistic baseball. So at this point, that's what we have. So the game is full and complete. I do not have wild pitches. I do not have hit by pitch put into the game. There are errors. There are more error chances now than there were, but there's not a ton of error chances. So hopefully you don't burn me for that. It does keep the game moving quite a bit, and it keeps scoring down. I went and did some basic stamina calculations for each player. So I'm going back and forth on whether I need to include stamina on the card itself. I know a lot of you are going to want to, but if I provide the stats here, you can do it if you want to. I love the organic feel of not knowing. I don't mind figuring this out. It's basically innings pitched divided by games started for a starter. Innings pitched divided by games pitched for a reliever. And if the reliever is coming in for a relief appearance, but he has some starts, then you use games minus games started. So however many games he didn't start, that's how many games you want. Innings pitched divided by that. And then if he's starting a game, but he has some relief appearances, you would just use games started if he's starting a game. So I don't mind figuring that out and deciding how players go. I typically just like to kind of generally know how long they typically go. They're going to, if they only have like Easton Lucas, he was really at like 4.8, which is 4 2/3 innings. I'm going to let him go 5 for his stamina. But, you know, the reality is he may not last very long. So we'll just have to see, because the results on his card are based off of his actual statistics. So I figure out their stats, and then I figure out how many slots are needed for each of the different things. So if he's a ground ball pitcher, he's going to have a lot of ground balls, especially if it's against righties or lefties. If he's a pitcher who walks a lot of people, he's going to have more walk chances. And then these are the main results, but you're going to get a few results off of the charts as well, right? So there's a deep drive check, there's a double triples check, there is the range check, which if you fail the range check, it's going to get through for a hit. There are 2 singles, 2 guaranteed singles on the ground ball chart, so that's a plus 10%. And then there's a potential for another infield hit on the using the range chart. So if the player fails that, which is a tiny percentage, it's not adding as much as the just straight up hard ground single and the infield single. So there are a few opportunities to get hits, even though it's basically kind of like a ground out result, but it's called a ground ball result. So there's lots of different things that could happen on that. And then there's a small percentage of plays, the range plays that can go for hits. It's not very much. You know, a range check on a 0 rated infielder is only going to be 1 out of 20. So that's 5% of whatever, 25% or something like that, 30% off of the thing. So if you do all that math, it doesn't equate to a whole lot more. But there are these chances, and it makes the game a little bit more realistic without blowing up the statistics on it. So maybe one day I can do a video on how you do nested percentages. Percentage of percentage is how you get down to very minuscule percentages with only using 2 dice. So if you've ever wondered how that works, you sort of nest percentages, and when you do that, you can get to some pretty small numbers while still having meaningful interactions on the charts. So that is how you play the game. There seems like maybe a lot of moving parts. Some of these things are just not going to come into play very much. And with one page of charts, I feel like that's everything that's covered the game I'm about to play. It'll be maybe test game number 4 or 5. I've also tested a lot of at-bats, just using the AI and the numbers, but this will be like actually on the table game number, I think, 4. So the cards are fresh off the press. I just finished jazzing up the batter cards. I still need to do the pitcher cards and add more to that. Obviously, there's no defense on the pitcher card, so if I need to use a defense for the pitcher card, I'll just use a 1. 1 is like standard for most players. Actually, it's like maybe 2. 2 would be standard, but for a pitcher, they're usually pretty good fielders. You could even give them a 1, and you're probably going to get 2. Most pitchers, they don't make a ton of errors, most pitchers. They just don't get a lot of chances, so their fielding ratings tend to be near average. And that's how we're going to play it, I think. So if you have any questions about the game itself, feel free to leave them down in the comments section. And if you watch the next video, you'll see how the game is played. And I'm not going to do a lot of explanation or anything because this video goes so deep dive into it. I'm just trying to break up the video a little bit so that you don't get like a half hour tagged on to the actual gameplay. You can get a sense of how long the game is going to play. Now I'm going to play it with 2d6 dice and 1d12. I've also been playing it in the past with another set of d6 and another d12. Because you go from the ground ball chart to the range check or the arrow check chart, you just have two results there ready to read. And it's one, if you have big enough hands, it's just one roll of the dice. You put these 2 together, put these 2 together, and put those 2 together, and then you have everything you need to read out. Most plays, there might be the occasion where you need to roll a d20 again. But for the most part, this is going to get you most of what you need. But I'm going to play it with just 3 dice and see how that goes. It'll be more rolling, but I think it'll be fun. All right. If you have not subscribed to the channel, click on subscribe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to share this with anybody, you can share it. No problem with that. And if you want to join the Facebook group, you're going to get a lot of data and information and polls and just lots of different me sharing what I'm doing and what's going on at the Clark and Addison Facebook channel. It's not just baseball. It's not just basketball or football. It's all the Clark and Addison universe, including games that are in production like Field General Football. And when we were doing Play Action Football Express, that was all, play testing and questions and things like that are going to be put on there. Midfield football, when it was sort of redevelopment, that was there. It's where you're going to get the first look at any new seasons coming out. So when I release Precision Baseball for 2025, that's going to be there first, and you'll be notified about new seasons, new sets, new games, new things I'm working on. That's going to be where you're going to hear from it first, probably even before it gets to YouTube. So if you want to join that and you're on Facebook, go to Facebook groups, look up Clark and Edison Gaming Company, and then answer your questions, agree to the group rules, and I'll be happy to let you in to that group. It's a private group, so there's no spamming or weirdness going on there. And if you want to share your games, I totally welcome that. Or if you have questions about games, that's a really good place. I check it all the time. So I'm usually pretty quick there. And if you want to hit me up on Messenger, happy to have conversations with you on Messenger. Just send me a message, and we can shoot the breeze, talk about games, or if you have questions about anything, you can do that. Sometimes I'm just helping gamers, or if I mention something here and you're like, hey, you mentioned that in the video, or you mentioned that somewhere where you were talking, can I get a copy of that? Can I try that beta or whatever? You know, it could be a game in super early development like this one, and maybe you just want to try it out and get your hands on it. This channel is not like most other channels, so I am not a replay gamer. This is not my background. I love the puzzle of developing games. I will never stop developing games, I don't think, because there's always something new. Like, this is a mishmash of some of the most popular games on the planet. So maybe this one will scratch an itch for people. It's a little bit faster to play than some other games. It is a little bit different even than some faster playing games. And it does combine elements of all of these games together, but without copying them, right? Nobody has a copyright on 11 to 66. Nobody has a copyright on putting the results on the card. So I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. The leverage ratings are more like my own design out of Precision Baseball than they are the PB rating. It's not the same. But it gives you statistical accuracy, the accuracy of Precision Baseball without the time put into it. So maybe this will appeal to people who like Precision Baseball, but they don't really want to do an hour to an hour and a half for a game, and don't really need all the extra charts and all that kind of stuff that comes with Precision Baseball, which is a heavy game, but very enjoyable and totally awesome to play. So what you're going to get on my channel is behind the scenes. Literally, this is the fourth time I played this game. I think I played 2 innings before I showed you where the game was before. And, you know, every iteration, I'm showing you something new. You're seeing, you know, for some reason there was 3 to 20 instead of 10 to 20. That's a common mistake on the chart, so I know that that's just some weirdness that's going on. Maybe I copied it wrong or something. But you're getting the ground floor, and there aren't many developers. I can't think of any developers that are actually showing you the design process. But if you watch me long enough, you'll see the design process, and maybe I can do a lot more videos on how to approach this. I have a small short series about that on this channel, how to think through creating a sports game. I wanted to do something a little bit longer and more professional, but it's a good starter to get you thinking about it. And that actually became a game. I can't remember which game it became, but it became a game eventually. And so we were kind of thinking through, if we were going to create a game, this is the sorts of things you need to think about. So when you're watching my channel, you're going to get the ground floor. These are the games. They're raw. They're not always beautiful. These cards look better than when I first showed them, because I keep tinkering. You know, I keep like chipping away at it. There are more chart results and more charts, better chart results. So I play it and I'm like, okay, well, that's not very good. I see another error there. It's going to come up. So this should be a 10. So I like that. As I play, I'm going to figure stuff out. And as I figure stuff out, I write it on here. I go back to the computer, make it a permanent change, and then that's how the editing process happens for these games. So if you want to know why does it take so long to develop a game, it's like every time you play it, you find something else that is, there's a gap there that you're having to just make up, or it's just something, okay, this is a part of the game that's missing, kind of thing. All right. I think that's it from here. I appreciate you checking this out. Now, turn this off, click like. If you haven't subscribed, click on subscribe, and then go to the next video. The next video is going to be Atlanta at Toronto, and this is from the 2025 season, early in the season in April. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.